especially, we can say, yeah, represents the blood and all that other stuff, and I know that's a simple point, but we beat them up for it. We beat them up. But there was a reason. So here we see this text where the disciples are being given instructions. The instructions was to go into the city and find a colt that had never been ridden on. He says, go to the house, let them know that the Lord have need of it, and they'll let him go. So what do? They're obedient. They go and do what he said. They go to the house, and exactly what he said was going to take place is the individual say, hey, what are you doing with that colt? Where are you going with this colt that's never been, tied up well, the Lord have need of. They say, oh, okay, go ahead. Isn't it interesting how, because I'm running through, I got 10 more minutes, 9 more minutes, I'm running through this, how often the world will make you think that you have to pull your own self up by your own bootstraps. I know that's an old statement, but even in this text, the colt couldn't get loose without somebody loosing him. In our lives, we need other people to help us get to where we need to be. No man is an island. And although we try to be, the interesting thing is God will send individuals our way just like this colt. Now, I know this is, right here in this text, but if we look at the spiritual symbolism, we can't come to God until we get to a place where we've received who God has sent for us to receive the release that we need. Some of us are tied up with anxiety and depression. Some of us are tied up in bad relationships. Some of us are tied up in angst and this and that. But until we receive who God has sent for us to be released, then it's going to be very difficult for us to experience that release. But they did what exactly Jesus told them to do. So they found him, and they released him, and they brought him to Jesus. Another example that this particular lesson brought up was Bartimaeus. Bartimaeus was a blind man who refused to allow those who were around him complaining to tell him to be quiet. He refused to be silent, and he kept calling out for Jesus. Not only this helped to solidify and substantiate his faith, this also gave him or got him recognition in being identified by the Messiah. And even written in the text that he was blind, and yet he kept calling out for Jesus because he refused to be silent. Some of us have to get to the place where we refuse to be silent as it relates to calling out to him. But you don't get to that place until you realize it's only him that can save you. It's only him that can heal you. It's only him that can deliver you. It's only him that can set you free. Until you realize that you're not going to let the outward circumstances keep you from receiving what God has readily available for you to receive, then you will remain in the state that you are in. But you have to release and let go of the naysayers. Interesting enough, in our culture, it is understood and it's been made popular on some of the shows. I want to say, I can't remember the name of the show that this famous artist was over, but you would hear him say when someone was singing, they did a good rap, he would say, hey, they eat. I ain't gonna call his name because I don't want nobody to get offended, but he'd be like, eat. Now, why am I saying that? Because when you get to the place where you're hungry enough, you will be able to be put in a position where you are driving towards that which you need and desire. And so, to truly be hungry or to hunger after God doesn't mean that you're physically hungry, but you have such a strong desire that it equates to when you are hungry, you got to have some food. You know, you have some of us that are just hangry. We get hangry. I got one at home. She gets hangry. You can't do too much. You got to get them some food. Especially when she was pregnant, you just get hangry. You have to be so determined to be able to be hungry after God that you go after him with all of your might. So Bartimaeus' refusal to stop crying out loud for the Lord when he knew he was near, he knew that he had such a hunger that only Jesus could fulfill. We have to get to that place where we understand that only Jesus can fulfill those things. Now, as he is going into the streets of Bethany, Jerusalem, they're laying down palms, they're laying down straw, they're doing all of these things, and they're crying out, "Blessed be the King of our father David that cometh in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest." You know, interesting enough, for many years I thought Hosanna was just another form of praise. And sometimes when we get here close to Palm Sunday and we're laying out our palms and we saying, "Hosanna, Hosanna," do you know what we really are saying? The true essence of Hosanna means save now. So it's not a form of praise, it's a form of prayer, a quick prayer, a declaration. Lord, save me. Lord, save us. Lord, free us. It was their proclamation in saying, this is the Messiah. The Messiah is here to save us. They had a full confidence in knowing. And now the interesting thing is, again, we can go back and read the history. They were living it. So what their premise and their thoughts was we are going off of what prophecies we had read and have been able to go back and review from Genesis to Malachi in the Old Testament. And because from the Old Testament to the New Testament, there was 400 years of silence. They had all these different prophecies that had been passed down. And so they were just going off the word that had been prophesied to them. And so because he came in on this colt, he was resembling what the prophecies had determined what would happen. And so they just was going off their faith. Now, the interesting thing about this is that he was riding on a colt that had never been ridden on. One of the things that it was brought up in this particular lesson that I thought it was very significant was he was brought on a colt that had not been broken. It's in one of the texts, whether it's in Mark or in John, it talks about he rode on a colt that had not been broken. It wasn't talking about broken like bones broken. It was talking about it had not been tamed. So usually you couldn't ride on an animal, a colt or a donkey, if it had not been tamed. But it spoke to the power and the prowess of Jesus, that he had the ability to get on something that had never been tamed, but yet fully submitted itself to him. So not only could he control the winds and the waves, he could control even this animal that had its own mind, its own will, and yet he was able to control it and it be fully submitted to him. Same thing, he's certainly ushering in and asking and requiring of us. Blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord. Blessed be the kingdom of our father David that cometh in the name of the Hosanna in the highest. He's going to save you from the utmost to the uttermost. I know I just messed it up to the guttermost to the uttermost. It's one of them old sayings. But he's looking to save us completely. That's really what that is saying. They had never heard of Palm Sunday. It didn't exist. But God does not desire for us anything that is impossible. He's not looking for us to accomplish anything that is not impossible. But he's expecting us to do what we know that is possible through him. Because nothing is impossible with him. Just like he was able to turn the water into wine, he can change our circumstances that may be upside down to putting them right back, right side up. But we must believe in his power. So even in the midst of this text, not everyone in the crowd was excited about what they saw and heard. Everybody wasn't excited to see Jesus coming down that road. There were some who had disdain for the voices crying out praises to Jesus. And I read that in John where it talks about those individuals. He said, man, everything we've been doing, we ain't been successful. Everybody now is going after Jesus. So you got to know that when you being blessed and you hearing the naysayers that's not happy with what God is doing in your life, they're only perpetrating exactly what was done in this text. Showing that everybody isn't going to be for you. Everybody isn't going to be happy because you are experiencing the favor of God. Everybody isn't going to be happy because you free and have freedom. Everybody isn't going to be happy because you're experiencing the salvation and the healing process of God. Everybody isn't going to be happy for you. They'd rather see you tied up. They'd rather see you bound. They'd rather see you be in a place whereby they can walk all over you and do whatever they want to do with you. But Jesus have come that you might have life and life more abundantly. That is the true essence of the grace that we have in him. When Jesus called Bartimaeus, the Bible says he, casting away his garment, rose and came to Jesus. He threw his garments away, one of which was identified as his coat. It was his coat that he cast off. Now, why was this significant? Because a coat in those days was a very valuable garment. To the point, they would even use that as collateral for a loan. But he threw away even what was valuable in order to get what Jesus had. I don't know what we may be holding on that we think is valuable or most more important or has a greater deal of significance, but nothing that we possess is greater than what Jesus has for us. I heard this one preacher, he said, I would rather have favor and $2 than not have the favor of God and have $10 million. Because favor with God will allow doors to open that money can't buy. And you can have money and no doors ever be open. So when we are willing to take the risk, our faith has great reward. When we are willing to take the risk, our faith has great reward. Amen. I pray everyone was blessed by today's lesson. I jumped around, but I tried to get the nuts and bolts and the nuggets that I possibly could to help you be able to get through this week. You have a comment? The last statement? Oh, if we have faith, I don't remember. That'll give you a reason to go back and listen to the lesson. My brain had already moved on to something else. Yeah. Let me see if I got it in my notes. Ah, Jesus. So, oh, that's what I said. If you're willing to take the risk, our faith, no, that's not what I said. If we're willing to take the risk, our rewards will, yeah, something like that. Now you're going to make me go back and listen to it again myself because I don't remember. It sounded good. I knew it was right, but I don't remember what it was. Ah, Jesus. Like when I say my mind was on something else, literally had jumped on to the next thing. But our faith has great rewards if we're willing to take the risk. I think that's what I said. Our faith has great rewards if we're willing to take the risk. See how God know how to bring it back to you? He know how to bring it back. I trying to remember, I couldn't remember, but he brought it back just in my things. But if we have faith, yep, if we're willing to take the risk, our faith has great rewards. Amen. Amen. We're going to go ahead and dismiss our virtual BFF members at this time. We'll go ahead.